banned by EG, I think.
So now we have the Enchantress first pickup by MVP Phoenix. What do we want to see from... I mean, Enigma is still in the pool. Enigma tide opening?
I think when seeing an Ench first pick, you kind of have to wait on the tide a bit. I think it's like third or fourth pick material for EG this game. If you show it like right now, MVP are not scared to just send the Ench aggressive, just harass the Enigma, or bully another lane to a point where it could backfire really hard.
It's gonna be the Earth Spirit and the Ursa Bear.
Alright, yeah. So I was thinking EG will go two ways with this draft. They'll either play to their strengths and see what MVP is gonna give them, like adjust later, or they're just gonna pull out something random they've never done before. But this is pretty standard. The Ursa's not only good versus Enchantress, but pretty good versus the meta of the tournament, which is like the Savannah and stuff.
And a very early Roshan, if you want to fight and you have that extra Aegis already at 9 minutes or so,
yeah,
you might have a gigantic impact.
Ooh, a good point is EG actually picks Dire over first pick. And then they play around Roche, so that makes Ursa even better.
Does that mean that MVP Phoenix is now going to get forced into also trying to get a lineup that is maybe even better at Roshan? Vengeful Spirit would come to mind, of course, with minus armor a bit, but...
It's not about having the team that's better at Roshan, it's just being able to contest it.
Yeah.
If you have the heroes who can fight early, then you can stop a team from doing Roshan. It's not necessarily about can we kill it, but can we stop
Can we kill
EG
them?
killing it? Or kill them instead. That's also a good alternative. And sometimes, because MVP like to play the game so quickly, they'll push, they'll get a couple of tier 1s, that Roshan becomes much harder for EG to go to without having MVP actually know about it. And I think in this type of scenario, when you open up and you show your hand of saying, okay, Ursa is going to be our carry, I mean, depending on who's playing the Ench, because I think that they can actually change this up, maybe go back for something like a Beastmaster. I think it's really solid against Ursa in most games, but they have a lot of options here to deal with that Ursa.
Yeah, I was thinking that Beastmaster would actually be a pretty high-value pick for either team in this series, just because the way that EG can run it, and I think that in a way Beastmaster is a really good tempo controller for...
Yeah. And with having picked Avenge already, it makes the Beastmaster pick even stronger, because then you can't have the defensive swap pick, and EG obviously do like their Venge. PPD's played that quite a few times so far.
I actually don't really like the Beastmaster for MVP. I think they're a team that likes the lanes. Like every one of their cores likes to just sit solo in the lanes, and the supports all rotate to the vulnerable one. And when you're Beastmaster versus Ursa, like 1v1, there's like RTD doesn't need help, and Beastmaster like just can't even lane versus Ursa at all. So he would have to have the Enchantress help him, which make the other lanes a little bit weaker. And dedicating that.
Well, I'll take your word for it because you play off lane. So.
And then also when you roar Ursa, you just buy Zags and then pushes R, and then it's a depressing time. But I mean, it's still good for the game.
Yeah,
you're a Beastmaster.
I just like the idea of double aura. Beastmaster vision is great.
Yeah,
you can pick and choose your fights, and I think most teams that we've been seeing play pick at least one vision hero. Sometimes it's Beastmaster, sometimes it's Zeus or Nightstalker.
I would say if this wasn't MVP, they pick Beastmaster.
Yeah,
but they like to win and win hard early.
10 seconds.
So if it's not the Beastmaster, if it's not the Void, what's Forev gonna play?
Ooh, that is a tough one. He's actually someone that is a pretty diverse kind of pool, I think. At least in the terms of the...
Heroes like Phoenix are pretty bad. Ench is not the offlane you want against Ursa, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a support. But then again, Ench isn't the worst offlaner versus Ursa.
It's okay. I guess it's more like if you get ganked, Ursa is like gonna slaughter you.
And they already got the Earth Spirit.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. I think EG actually might go for the Tide now, third pick, because it just guarantees Roche.
Yeah, there's no.
Oh, they did that before, didn't they?
Yeah.
They had the level 6 Tide just sit with the Ursa in the pit. And
yeah, you can't you either take the fight and lose, and then they get Roche anyways, or you just let them take Roche. There's not much you can do, especially with those two heroes.
And then there's so much incentive because you have ancient stacking as well.
Yeah.
There's so much incentive for you just to control that half of the map.
EG is statistically the one that gets most farm out of the Ancients, actually.
Oh yeah,
they like that a lot.
That's like their specialty.
Yeah, Universe spends so much time off map that in order to keep up his farm, he has to use the offlane and ancient camps quite a lot.
This is actually pretty classic counter to Enchantress. Just freeze the creep.
Yeah.
They did it this morning, worked out for them.
It's like that on Witch Doctor, I think, were the two most common heroes that we've seen against
it.
Would you have preferred the Witch Doctor though?
I think you would want Witch Doctor if you didn't have another hero that could kill Ench. Because like Witch Doctor Ward is good against Enchantress,
Yeah.
and plus Malik can be pretty strong too.
Yeah, but that's a PPD hero.
Yeah.
PPD's like, I want the aura, you know, for my mana. He's an Ursa. He's gonna be.
Give me mana.
I feel like I was gonna say that mobility is probably the keyest factor here for MVP Phoenix. When you show an Ursa really early on, it's a hero that you can focus on kiting. Like he's got max movement speed, but if you have some of these heroes that have innate blinks, you can just try and play the kiting game as much as possible. So I think that I was thinking like, would the Phantom Lancer be a good pick? But you already have Earth Spirit picked up.
And that's
So
that's QO, I think, no matter what lane he goes.
yeah, exactly. So instead, it's the Ember Spirit QO.
It could be.
Makes more sense.
Well, it doesn't have to be, right? It could still be safe lane.
I think he'll play it even if it's safe lane.
He
Yeah,
likes
yeah.
to play it mid though. I mean, this
Yeah,
time
that's
he's
the
actually only
preferred
playing
lane.
mid, I think. Yes.
And I think that's necessary against an Ursa who is naturally gonna be that kind of snowballing tempo where you're talking about Roshan over and over again. You want to be able to get control of the game before that. The mid Ember Spirit is about that. The safe lane Ember
Yeah.
Spirit is not.
I kind of like the idea of Peel though, because I think that Peel either mid or safe lane. Like obviously Ember and Peel would be interchangeable.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
The problem for me is that I feel like the Earth Spirit, and then you don't know what mid you're up against. If you
Yeah.
combine the two, it's like
I'm a
Just,
fan of Death Prophet myself.
that is an OS frog hero. I've never seen one.
I think that they will put it mid for sure on EG.
yeah.
That's.
Doesn't that make Ember like not so hot? Like I
Yeah.
feel.
Oh yeah, Ember. The siphon's pure damage, so it just goes right through his shield.
Oh, I made a pun. I didn't even mean to.
Oh man.
It was an accident. I apologize.
5 seconds.
The presence of Bruno.
So now all that's left
It
is
really is.
Universe Hero for EG.
Reserve
I think it's like they could even get the Beastmaster.
Beastmaster or Tide. I feel like if you have Tide in this matchup, you can literally walk up to a tower with Exorcism.
Oh yeah,
And
that.
MVP are gonna stand there and be like, what do we do right now? Like,
You
how do we
can't-
fight?
Yeah, you can't fight into that. And they take towers so fast, so you are gonna have. If you're planning on having a fast game anyway,
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those lineups where there's like two ways to play Tide. Counter Initiation Tide or Don't Come Near Me Tide. And that would pretty much be the latter on EG's lineup.
The don't come near me tide is kind of the flavor of the tournament right now
Yeah.
too, where we're seeing like mechs and drums.
The drums mech. That's the build.
Are you a fan of the drums?
I'm
by the
a
way?
fan of the drums mech.
Yeah.
You go mech first, and you don't have the bongos to play. It's not as fun.
You're actually just so fast with drums too.
Oh yeah, it's great. You just do the backstroke right in. It's so fun, man.
if you are MVP Phoenix, would you pick up the offlane now, or would you keep that hidden? Which one would you go for? The MP hero or the Forev hero?
I think they would a better mid matchup, because, well, they might just like have both supports roam to mid with Ember, which is it's okay for Death Prophet. It can work and get kills, but.
Yeah, we
Ooh,
talked
oh wow, okay, so now it's
that's a
either
seal then? Ooh.
it's now either mid lion or which is pretty unlikely, or it's carry venge.
Give me like
Or
2010
Enchantress
Dota back with
offlane?
CM mid lion.
Yeah,
Eng offlane,
Inch off lane as well,
I
but
guess. Yeah.
there's a lot of options actually. I didn't think about that one. I kind of counted that one out.
Ench offlane against CM though?
CM Ursa,
First
that's.
split? Oh
No,
god,
it
you would
doesn't sound
actually
like
just
a good
die
time.
instantly.
Seconds remain.
Could they go aggressive trial and safe lane? I mean, I'm just throwing out
Reserve
options here.
time.
They could.
I guess everything.
I don't know
is
how
possible out
good
there.
it is.
A farmed Enchantress is really strong against Death Prophet because you're able to lay down that pure damage
Oh,
into
yeah.
a single target, right? You want to be able to have that kind of burst damage, which
Yeah.
is why Lion is a smart pickup, right? You have to threaten the Death
10
Prophet
seconds
as
to
fast as
pick.
possible. And if you look at Vengeful Spirit and Ember Spirit, they're not the kind of heroes to
5
do that,
seconds
especially
remaining.
Ember Spirit. I actually think that the Death Prophet was such a solid pick when you see Ember on the field. You want to be able to pressure the enemy, plus the fact that he's not able to lay good single target damage into you. It's like a win-win for a DP pick. So that I don't think that's actually out of the realm of possibility. I think that is something, but that still leaves like what is our offlane for MVP Phoenix? Because there's so few good heroes left.
Well, they definitely think it's Ench offlane. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you don't ban Slark.
I'm
Or
honestly
unless-
scared. Like,
5
Unless
seconds
Ember they
away.
figure is safe lane, or they just know QO plays Slark pretty much anywhere.
If you would have an aggressive trial lane, by the way, you would kind of not have a bit of support coming out for QO in the mid lane that they do need, which we talked about.
yeah.
That would be a downside to it.
And they banned the tide. It's like they're obviously scared of it. It's I'm
don't
scared for
blame
MVP though. They're so oh my.
Okay.
Team
Can
The
they?
Lone Druid was left out there for so long because MVP Phoenix obviously couldn't get it really against Ursa or
This is
TP,
so
but-
greedy though.
Can they kill the lanes with VG though? with their heroes. I don't know if they can gank enough to shut down all 3 cores.
Yeah, that's kind
They're
of
very
a problem.
hard cores to kill too.
I'm thinking about it in my head, and like EG is just gonna walk to the Roche pit with everyone, and let RTZ do
They
Roche.
need like a gyro or something to fight, like just battle hero.
Yeah, they're also squishy. How do they? No one on MVP can just run in and like start the fight.
Is the PL that you mentioned still an option, or?
PL's okay. Like I think in the late game, PL is fine actually against all these heroes because you have such a hard time killing him.
But how do you get to the late game?
Yeah, that's why I figured that they would just go for something like gyro instead. But
Or a hero that can kite Ursa better, perhaps?
Ursa's probably the least of your worries right now.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm more
really
scared of the Death Prov Lone Druid.
Oh,
What?
okay.
Okay. All right, that is.
They're
bold.
playing to win. I give them that.
Yeah. Okay.
Give it! Who's gonna take this first game?
I
I kind of like this. They have a lot of gank on MVP, and then the Spectre kind of rats the team. They can be 5 whenever they want.
You're on the MVP train?
I give them hope.
Who's gonna hop on?
I'm wearing blue. I'm gonna say the boys in blue, so EG.
MVP's
I'll
join.
I'll join.
Yeah, yeah, hop on that
I'll
train.
get on this. I'll get on this MVP fun ride. I like it.
They have.
Okay.
It,
Okay, what needs to happen for them to win? Give us like one
They
thing
have to
look forward
kill. They have to kill everyone all the time.
They have to
think-
kill and not die, by
Yeah.
the way, because we also have to talk about the Earth Spirit
Yeah.
and its impact in these lanes.
I think the audience would like to see them kill. I think that's what they're here for. They want to see a slaughter. They want to see a bloodbath. It is time for Evil Geniuses taking on MVP Phoenix with LD and God.
That's right, we are live here, ready to go. Oh, sorry about that, folks. Welcome. We're live at the Mercedes-Benz Arena, getting ready for opening match. Well, I was already gonna say, if you speak Chinese, you should be watching the Chinese broadcast because, I mean, we can't compete. It's Lanham, it's Xiao. The crowd probably going more nuts for their cast than they are for the game. Should be an exciting match.
I was watching the draft.
Grand finals. So, God's thoughts on the draft here. MVP sticking to their guns, spread the map, find the pickoffs, very mobile style draft. EG, much more of a team fight draft, a lot more stable. Thoughts on this game as well as the overall series?
Well, EG right now is thinking, damn, we should have level 1 Roche. They're not coming. They're not checking it. Why did we level 1 Roche, guys? They'll come now. MP.
Oh, hello. Hey guys.
Get out of there,
Beautiful.
boys. It's a trap.
You know, you don't really look at this MVP draft and say like, oh, they're so great at scouting at level 1, but cheeky use of the dagger there. MVP gonna not fall for EG's trick.
Yeah, it's funny because MVP definitely want to be, in general, fighting a lot this game, using the Spectre Haunt to kind of have that global 5-man presence, but early on, EG looking to kind of run one by MVP and get off to an early lead, but
So the laning setup here, very standard from EG. They're going to run the lone druid in the off lane. Looks like he'll pull the creep wave back, eat his way through the trees as he goes. It will put Sumail in the mid lane on the Death Prophet. Fear as the roaming Earth Spirit with a smoke and an Orb of Venom. Already you can see him setting up mid. There's a Hill Ward, but didn't actually scout him, QO. Dodging back from that first roll attempt. And then over to the top for EG Arteezy, getting the freeform. Here's the Ursa. And as the analyst discussed at length, this is not a great matchup for Enchantress. One of the few safe lane carries that does physical damage, you can still kill her early.
yeah, CM Ursa just sounds like a pretty sad time. There is the Satyr creep, the dream creep to have, but that's where the CM comes into play. Frostbite already at the ready. PPD is going to be hunting for this Satyr.
Yeah, he wants that delicious gold, and meanwhile, Fear coming around from behind. It looks like EG are setting up for a first blood attempt here. They're going to hold him in position now. They do the extra move speed, but he whips on the first roll.
That's not a typical Fear play. He's been so on point with Mirana arrows, Earth Spirit rolling boulders. If he hits that, it's a first blood, even with 4F having the boots.
And for 4F, there is no real vision here of that rotation, so it's purely just a misplay from
Going
Fear
into
now.
round 2, though.
Of course, there will be more shots. And we can see Forev now throwing out the nuke. He does see Fear with his ward, or at least he did a second ago, but he's going to get caught out now. The Frostbite coming through might be enough for the kill. He's going to send the creep to try and body block Arteezy away. PPD looks for the auto attacks to try and finish him off, but it's just so slow. Can't do it. So now we look towards the ruin. There's going to be another rolling boulder momentarily. 2-minute ruin about to spawn, so Fear gets that as a freebie. The bounty for him, and it is going to be an arcane ruin bottom. That goes to Febby. There's dire vision of this though, so he will be scouted if he tries to move on mid.
Fear kind of took a gamble and went for a rolling boulder.
They smoked inside the pit, but I think EG should be wise to this. But will they expect the direction of the gank? They're actually rotating on mid. Even going for a courier snipe maybe? No, back to the bottom lane.
And Savage Roar is the big problem here. You've got to try and play and maneuver around it.
And while this is happening, again, Fear's looking to make a move on mid. He's trying to set up. He's going to roll in simultaneously. They converge on Universe to get the Hex off. It looks like 2 potential kills. QO very low in the mid lane. 1 more auto attack. Oh, he lives! Barely! The boy that lived. The poor man's shield saving his life. Didn't pop the fairy fire there, but that was damn close.
QO knows what he's doing. If he doesn't have to use his Fairy Fire, he won't. But nice little wraparound for MVP, securing the kill on Universe's Lone Druid, and gets him off to a good start here with a free farming Spectre, a First Blood going the way of Lion, and
it's really been the story of the tournament for MVP. They just seem to excel in the laning stage. Almost every single matchup, I would say, they have won heavily in the lanes, and it's often with what appear to be very greedy drafts. Late game carries, heroes that scale extremely hard, but their supports do such a good job of setting them up for success.
And even sometimes bad matchups. Like we're seeing QN in this terrible Ember vs DP matchup. He's actually getting crushed in CS. There's 8 CS to the 22 CS, 9 denies of Sumail. He's off to a terrible start, but Q has proven time and time again he can catch up just through brawling, ganking, fighting. He'll find openings back into this game despite the level deficit if EG aren't careful.
And Fear, he'll have another crack at the mid lane. He's got to be getting frustrated. QO, no Flame Guard though. That is currently on cooldown for 20 seconds. And he will have an angle, but Febby's there. His smoke will break. Fear's too, and the pings come out in a flurry. So the roaming squad of MVP heroes are going to clear out that potential gank opportunity.
Still smoke though. That's kind of a surprise factor that EG may not be ready for here in this mid lane.
And there's nobody laning bottom right now, so perhaps EG won't realize it. Universe just farming the jungle, and they do make their way on Sumail, but we can see that Spirit Sight been really slowing things down. A big kick from Fear will usher back the supports of MVP. While Forev, meanwhile, doing a bit of jungle time. His lane's going to push in, though. The Wildkin holding the lane, the Centaur trying to work on the stack. Rotations all over the map. Good job there down at the Rune. So MVP getting a slight edge. They'll grab the early regen rune here for Febby, and they're going to make another play on the bottom lane, but at the same time in the mid lane, QO is going to get caught out, pops the Fairy Fire. This time EG will get the kill, and it looks like Universe is going to scout out MVP's rotation. So back the other way we go.
I've got down a very deep ward here in the bottom lane. Not a ward you'd expect at this stage of the game, so unlikely to be dewarded unless it's revealed through a surprise gank. And MVP really want to up the aggression. MP rushing the phase boots, not trying to get the earn anytime soon. He just wants that extra bit of mobility and kill potential down here. Even has maxed out, well, we've got 3 points in the Spectral Dagger by level 5.
They do see Universe, but the real question is, do they have any chance of killing him? Spectre has Haunt now. They can go for this. It looks like they're going to. They just got level 6 in MP. They move in. Surprise! But not quite enough to get the kill. They want to get the Spirit Bear and the hero.
Tried to get
MP was going for the greed play, and it might have worked, but he decides to be safe. Gets the arrow set. Meanwhile, mid lane, roll forward. QO again dodging away from these. The Siphon comes through. They do manage with the kick to bring QO low. He's got the bottle charges though, but he can't juke Sumail. Another death here. Not having his customary hot start. Yeah. The Ember has been squelched.
And just taking advantage of the fact that Sumail had phase boots when the Ember didn't even have regular brown boots, and that is just such a big edge to have. You got Exorcism at level 6, something you don't typically see.
They're going on bottom again. Universe, if he dies here, he's going to lose his bear for a very long time. There's phase boots on MP, but the TP comes in. Febby dropping low to this. The TP ends up getting cancelled, and now the rotation. Fear all over the place this time. It is a connection. Angry Ursa will chew up that deer, killing off Forev on the Enchantress, making the score 3-2. And when you combine that with the farming advantage that EG are accruing, they're convincingly winning this mid lane, very convincingly. And as a result, you can see already up 1,500 gold and nearly 1,000 experience.
It is a slight concern how poorly Universe is doing here in the early game start. He's going to have to rotate and spend a lot of time catching up in the jungle, which means for EG, they're going to have to be very reliant on Death Prophet as well as Ursa to kind of control the tempo of the game.
Well, we saw the first taunt. QO now cracks level 6, so although he's really struggling mid to find his farm, he's still getting his levels.
And you got to watch out for MVP when they get the next haunt with an urn. That's when they're ready
backstab
to
Spirit Siphon. Sumail, very cute. Does force out a Remnant back.
MVP they're just playing fast tempo here. You see a hero like Spectre and you're kind of thinking, this hero kind of wants to farm a bit, but not the way MVP are going to play it. They're ready to just take towers, take objectives, the next haunt's up, the Urn of Shadows is coming out for Spectre. This is an item that really helps you snowball as a Spectre. Once you get a kill or two, you get those Urn charges, your next haunt, you have more kill potential because you can use them offensively, and EG has to be very careful about not giving up too many kills here.
Last hit to that tower does go the way of Febby. MP now, with the Urn complete, he'll be looking to fight early, as you said. They might have picked hard carries, but they're not going to play him that way. Now moving forward onto the bottom lane, PPD trying to slow this down with the Crystal Nova. Just a little bit of nuke damage, but MVP, because of that hill ground ward, or high ground ward on the hill, they knew that EG weren't defending this in force. Now it's been dewarded by PPD. I imagine Universe called it out after the death. And so it will be a little bit scary to continue the siege. They back off, rotating Dubu to the top lane, and Forev perhaps gonna head to the jungle, but in mid lane again, it's the roll in from Fear. Just time though, zippity doodah, QO makes it out to the top room.
Yeah, it gets a lot harder now that he's hit level 6. They don't have the best lockdown, just the level 1 silence on the Earth Spirit.
No
Sumail,
silence on Sumail just yet.
Yeah, and you wouldn't really expect it. Perhaps it would have been a kill with the level 1 silence there, but typically this is your Death Prophet build.
Weakens your laning to get it early though, so
yeah.
Very understandable.
The one kind of limitation of EG's lineup right now is often when you see MVP go for that tier 1 tower push, you want to be looking to trade for the top tier 1 tower, but Ursa not really knowing or not really able to go for that tower trade, so as a result, MVP take a tower and don't even give up one in exchange.
Goldilocks and the three little bears are working together for once. Into the pit they go, RTZ, Universe, and PPD. They'll look to take the Roshan down.
Being spotted.
There is a haunt available, but can they fight into this pit?
MVP have 2 heroes top.
Sumail's here with the Exorcism. This is very risky. Maybe MVP just trying to snipe somebody. They do get a silence off onto QO, and he drops quickly in the river with the Exorcism. It's enough for a kill. EG also claiming the Aegis. They put it on RTZ.
QO not having a good game here. Something kind of that's always highlighted with MVP. Like QO needs to kind of go big. When they have these big important matches, it's QO who's not necessarily carrying his team, but he's the superstar of this team who is going to look good, make the flashy plays, and kind of set his team up for success. And that's just not what we're seeing here with MVP.
EG are just piling up the advantage at this point, a 3,000 gold lead. And what's more concerning, over a 3,000 experience lead. The supports of MVP feeling very underleveled, a level 5 Venge, a level 4 Lion. Meanwhile, PPD level 6 and change, and Fear's Our Spirit also 5, and that's not even counting the core lead.
And that's a gold lead with 2 towers taken by MVP.
Oh, MVP, they just TP top and they smoke, but it was under a dire ward. More things just not going their way.
Yes, PPD smoked up, ready himself near the mid lane. May actually get caught out here, although not the biggest loss for them.
This could still end up being a kill. PPD, I think he's trying to break the smoke here. He does drop a ward, but he doesn't know that QO has the invis rune. They're going to get a wave of terror off. They bait out a TP rotation from an angry Ursa, who pops the Mask of Madness, activates the phase boots, sprints forward towards MVP. Forrest's going to try to kite him, but so much for kiting. Just dies. QO tries to assist, does what little damage he can to PPD, but now he gets controlled. He is going to pop the magic stick, keeps him alive a bit longer, jumps back up to the high ground, but it's just MVP running for their lives. There is a haunt available from MP. He's trying to find a good time to use it, but EG stick together, leaving the Spectre with no real way in.
Yeah, I can only imagine MVP saying like, no, this is not a fight we can take. Hold on to that haunt. Wait till we can find ourselves a more clean pick-off.
And, you know, so much for Universe struggling. There's your 11-minute Midas.
Yep.
After the start he had, this is pretty damn good.
Yeah, he's going to be satisfied with this, and he's going to be completely just AFK farming the jungle, the lanes, maybe tries to split push a bit while his team take fights, but he's not really the player hero that needs to be getting involved right now. He's the insurance policy for the late game, he's the plan B, and he's the one who's going to give EG a timing window where they get the Radiance, and that's when they're ready to break down all the towers on the map, even potentially threaten high ground.
So looking across the way, obviously this is not what MVP had in mind when the game started. Oh, hold that thought, might have action mid. There's the kick, QO zipping out, dodging away from the boulder at the last second. But looking at MVP's draft, the laning stage has gone quite poorly. What is their plan B at this point?
Get kills with Spectre Haunt. They need to play the pickoff game, try and get Febby level 6 on Lion, since the finger from him is going to be the other burst damage tool, and they need the burst damage to be able to defend or take fights, because otherwise they just die straight up to a Death Prophet Exorcism. So for MVP, it's get the level 6 on your Lion and then go play the pickoff game.
You can see the call being made here by Dubu. Let's get this top lane pushing. EG, 2 minutes to go on the Aegis, perhaps expecting an offensive on the bottom side of the map. And in fact, there are 4 EG heroes moseying that way. Just Universe up farming the jungle on the Dire side.
They are wary of Arteezy's Blink, so he didn't get any kind of surprise insta-kills with that, but even though they're wary of it, there's no way they can fight into the Blink Mask of Madness. Level 11 Ursa with Aegis. Arteezy's just in prime fighting position right now.
Seems like the ideal situation here for MVP. Just avoid fights and try to split a push. But PPD looks to slow it down. There's a remnant forward. They are going to catch up the Crystal Maiden chains. Securing the last hit. QO will grab it. MP now using the dagger to get down low, and Arteezy stunned and controlled. He might lose his Aegis early. And not for much here. Just one more imp would finish him off, but they don't find it. Meanwhile, QO, Remnant down. Actually didn't quite go to the low ground, so EG can easily catch him out, but he doesn't jump to it. Continues into the trees. He'll go for the TP out, and Universe says, screw it, man. Time to use that Midas.
Not a bad trade, and the entire time that's going on, Debbie's actually been sitting top, getting level 6, and even getting some farm. He's suddenly sitting on 19 CS. Probably almost all of that, or at least the majority of it, claimed in the last 3 to 4 minutes, so.
Looks like we're going to see an early Aether Lens from him.
Yeah, wow, very early Aether Lens. He's ready to go.
I bet he was building towards it, but yeah, he's already got it.
Yeah, I saw the Arcane
one.
Boots, and I saw him on like 1k plus gold, and I was like, okay, could just be going Arcane Boots into Blink, but nope, straight up Aether Lens.
We'll see if it pays off here. Arteezy looks to go bottom. He's setting up for QO. Should probably have a Remnant back, and indeed, will jump away, dodging.
Sick reflexes from QO.
The big roll in, and you can see he doesn't have a ward, so like you said, purely reflexes, game sense. QO showing the mechanics of a top-level player.
The MVP are pressuring this top lane while this is going on.
They're really playing the keep away game well. Like, sure, EG's still pulling ahead, but considering how the game began, this was about as good as it gets. They'll get drums down the Enchantress. Roshan, the Aegis finally going to expire. Might slow down EG's offensive by a little bit.
Now it's time for MVP to maybe use a smoke with the Lion Finger. Pretend like Lion, Venge, and Enchantress on a smoke adventure.
Again, they try to make the jump on Q, and again he dodges away. He is wasting a lot of EG's time and resources here. Best fingers.
So Aether Lens online, apparently pretty damn good. Very much.
Having a farmed Lion is good. That's kind of what that stat says to me.
It looks like MP's going to start farming up to make the jump to the Radiant.
PPD's in finger range. Get the taser.
Oh yeah.
And they're also looking to make a move on mid. Arteezy preparing to blink in at any moment. The pinks come out though, he has been scouted.
MP's just farming by this tier 2 top Dire tower. EG know it's such a dangerous place to go. MVP have set up vision, and they've also already got like 3 to 4 heroes positioned. EG don't want to send their heroes to the top lane because they're not applying pressure. It's just the kind of hard support who's up here trying to just keep this tower alive, but MP's getting farm, and PPD very likely to go down soon. Question is if that's what EG wants.
Is it even worth the use of the finger to kill PPD?
Probably not, because I think EG's actually going to look to engage on them.
They do manage to get that beautiful entangle into Savage Roar combo, so Dubu just sits there taking the punishment, tries for the swap out, it ain't going to happen, but ensures the core doesn't die.
Yeah. And blinking, keeping in mid lane, Debbie ready to set up around the Ursa if possible, but...
Cute play there by Arteezy, just using the minimal range blink to dodge away from an impetus. But it does mean he can't make a move here bottom. So, how do you feel if you're MVP? Really bad start. You know EG's very likely to get the next Roche, but you haven't been feeding. Until now, maybe. Or There's the stun though, maybe they get turned. Spectre Haunt comes in for him, not dead, just hit the earth. just enough to take him down. Sumail, though, keeps himself alive, throwing himself up in the air, but they get the kill. They end the exorcism. They could look for more MVP. Dagger onto PPDM, diving for this. Arteezy just TP bottom, so they know he can't come to the fight. That's their biggest damage dealer, not participating. MVP, great decision making there.
Yeah.
Make it 5-7.
So many teams in that position would have just let their Enchantress die and then just backed off and just said, okay, let's farm elsewhere on the map. But MVP recognizing that Ursa can't rotate in, and on top of that, the burst damage from the line, the level 4 Earth Spike into Finger gets amplified as well by the Aether Lines to set them up to take a great counter initiation there mid. And EG just weren't ready for that. Sumail's trying to itemize to tank up. He even picked up the Bit Booster very early on to build into the Rod of Atos, but he can't stand up to that burst damage of MVP.
Great decision making. Showing MVP has really matured a lot since they first burst onto the scene.
And MP, oh my gosh, he's farmed. He's suddenly got 3.2k gold. And that's with going for drums as well as Earn on Spectre.
Quickly turns your... Oh, tower mid might get denied here. Universe, or rather Fear rolling in. Trying to secure that. Does get the kick on 4F, but the Wildkin's going to prevent Arteezy from getting a blink forward off.
So it's going to be keep away until Spectre has Haunt at bare minimum, I feel, for MVP, which is back in 30 seconds, so it's not really much of a window for EG to get much done. That's the tier 1 tower at mid, and from there they perhaps poke forward towards this bottom lane, try and take over some of the Radiant jungle, but QO's got boots of travel now, so it's going to kind of turn into more of a split-pushing gate style.
Arteezy. He's gonna be careful here. Pops the early enrage. He does have a basher now. If he gets that lucky bash, can probably solo kill QO. But meanwhile, top lane, Dubu's about to get caught out. EG smoke for this. They roll in onto the bend. Silence. That's a mate, and he'll try, but he ain't getting out.
He's playing that kind of highlight dive role that we used to see him on, where it's like you're just up there, soaking up the game. You're kind of getting the vision for your team. Something MVP actually kind of are lacking is like that vision here. They've got some great deep wards up, but that's to get these wards up. Dubu's often putting himself in these positions, and that death there is not really all too costly for MVP. If anything, it's EG bringing 3 heroes top where they may not want to be.
Oh, Arteezy gets the bash bottom, almost enough for the kill. He pops the enrage a bit late. I think with the instant enrage before blinking, maybe he gets that, but you can never really assume you're gonna get the first hit bash.
Yeah,
close call there.
That's a item that caught QO a bit by surprise, but
well, he had seen it,
okay,
but you know, if he doesn't get first hit bash, I guess he's fine.
Yeah, you can't just not split push because you're afraid of a first hit bash. QO's mechanics are so fast that he's going to be able to get the Fire Remnant away after like 1 right click, most 9 times out of 10.
Arteezy's got to be a little frustrated with that. Just can't catch this Ember. 2 and 3, but all those kills came in the very early laning stage. And he's catching up in terms of last hits, in terms of net worth. And the Relic you mentioned, it's online. They leave MP top, but he's available to join as they've smoked and headed towards mid.
Yeah, it's this 3-man smoke. Well, the Ember has some global presence with the travels, the Spectre is the Haunt. Unfortunately, MVP, their smoke pops in a very awkward position.
They might have to sacrifice Dubu again. Kick comes through. Fear, not gonna rolling boulder on that.
Rod of Atos though.
Still, Dubu
like,
slowed down.
I
don't know if there's a please in there. It's like, all right, you can have me. I ain't going anywhere anyway.
We're talking about the good stuff for MVP coming. Universe has just quietly been farming away in the jungle. He's 1 and 2, but has Relic online himself, so he's on par with Spectre in terms of farm. At least as far as the Radiance timings go, and actually going to get there before the Spectre, so he's had a great recovery after that early game.
Yeah, they don't have the Radiance. Without that, it just doesn't seem there's any chance MVP go for the Roche. So maybe that last hit steal from QO, no Sleight of Fist ready.
This is the timing kind of for EG in a lot of ways. They've yet to really impose themselves on the map, take towers, take objectives, but with a Radiance there, Exorcism, Aegis, they're going to be ready to fight and take MVP head on. MVP will be much more inclined to kind of split the map, have QO on one of the side lanes pushing lanes out, even have the Spectre in the other side lane pushing things out, and then kind of try and see what pickoffs can come their way, because they don't really want to fight EG head on at this stage of the game.
Arteezy's posting up here in the mid lane, looking for his next victim, but meanwhile top MVP about to get caught out. It looks like MP so close to his Radiance. He's gonna get silenced. MP also silence can't save the Spectre. That will delay it by 300 gold, plus the lost farming time. Bebby also gonna go down here. A big grab for EG. 2 crucial kills, and while that was happening in the mid lane, Arteezy found a third.
That's almost just like high ground time in some ways. EG can keep on going through this mid lane. Universe has a second bear. He's going to resummon now.
Oh, that's devastating. And if they don't get those kills, you're looking at the Radiance coming up, EG not having the dead heroes to feel confident about a push, but it goes entirely the other way.
MVP do not want to have to buy back on Spectre, not at this stage of the game, and QO is actually TP back and stops split pushing because of that, just looking to delay with the Searing Chains, and so far doing a decent enough job that they should at most lose a tier 3 tower, and that's only if EG commits for
and
it.
even he's close to his next item. The Battle Fury is only 700 output. Yeah. Well, EG take full advantage. They won't fully crack down the mid lane, but they do just severe and almost critical damage to this tower, bringing it down to about 300 HP. So then they'll back off. We can see to go with the Radiant Sphere is completing the Veil of Discord now, so amplifying the magic damage he brings to the table, as well as his own Lone Druid.
And Spectre's going to hit this Radiance timing, but it's rarely like just the Radiance where you're scary. You've got the drum, so you're at least a little bit tanky with 1200 HP, but having a Radiance on is not going to just necessarily allow you to fight into EG. They've got huge damage output with the Exorcism from Sumail. They've got a Radiance and soon to be a Vlad's on Universe as well. The Ursa has tremendous single target DPS, so Spectre's still going to struggle to fight into EG even with the Radiance because EG just have farm across the board. All three of their core heroes topping the net worth chart. It's EG still with a very big lead here in game number 1.
And to put some numbers on that lead, it's a 10,000 gold advantage, 14,000 experience. Not completely over, but it's pretty massive, the advantage they've piled up.
Very hard game for Forev to do much. He's 0-4 in Enchantress, and that's just because of how much EG's
They're gonna fight here, they're moving in, they haunt and engage, they want to surprise EG. Fear rolls away, MP jumping in the middle of the EG lines, and on the Universe he's gonna go, but Big Daddy Ursa's coming, they lock down MP, there's the swap out, keep him in fighting shape, can they find the kills, blink forward, they do get the Hex, and try to lock Arteezy down, control him for now, QO's strikes first, killing off the Crystal Maiden, but Forev locked in position, clawed apart by Arteezy. And with the buyback, it's going to be a power play now for EG. 5-on-4, Haunt is down, crucially. And they're going in.
I think MVP did that because they knew there was no Exorcism. It was 15 seconds away from coming up, and MVP, I think they timed it to the very second, which was the really impressive thing about that engagement, because they knew if EG reached their base with Exorcism, they're going to lose the rack. And now that's what's going to happen, because the fight, unfortunately for MVP, they didn't get the kills. They couldn't bring down Sumail. He's just too tanky at this stage with the Soul Booster on top of the Yule's Atos.
Oh, they do at least have the Battle Fury here, though, so you can see the chip damage. Slowly but surely, QO trying to work these backline heroes down and force them out. They catch Arteezy, they're going to look to lock him down, but he manages to get off the ultimate. Starts going to work with the Bastions, they'll crack the Aegis, but they've lost 3. The other 2 scramble back towards the well, and this leaves EG to just beat the crap out of Arax. They'll grab the melee, they look now onto the ranged. MVP playing from a massive deficit.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not done yet though, Forev.
Just the one there, but MVP don't have the tools to really easily bring it down unless they hard commit, and that's something QO's playing without buyback. You can't afford to do. That's the problem. You buy this Battle Fury, you buy this Radiant, you're like, all right, we've got the high ground defend items, but you're up against Exorcism. You have Aegis on the EG side, and you've got no buybacks. The only way you can try and defend is to throw your lives away, and then EG just come right back at you.
Arteezy completed Abyssal Blade, and it looks like he wants to come back if MVP
QO
continue pursuit.
I mean, QO at this stage of the game is just going to get shut down hard by Artur.
At some point, you're going to be that 10th of a second late. He gets off the Abyssal, you die. Even if you're good 8 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 times, you still give up that one crucial death, and that may just lead to the EG push.
From MVP. They know they've taken out the Aegis. There's, I think, just the one bear from Universe. They want to fight now because if they give time for EG to reset, get another Exorcism up, it's just game over. They've got to fight when Exorcism is down, and they've got to play hyper-aggressive around that cooldown, and just, because they're so far behind, they've just got to take this big risk.
They have the Haunt, and QO moves in. Oh, he's seen the Crystal Maiden, but he wants someone else to chains. Don't connect, but they still commit the Haunt. Driving onto PPD, this could be a dieback on the Crystal Maiden for whatever that's worth. But everybody else making it back.
QO wants to go in. He knows how important.
Drawing MVP away from this, and QO is going to get found. They're going to swap in the Spirit Bear of all things, just so Dubu can get off a stun. Forev almost dying instantly to Arteezy, who already used this Abyssal Blade, but now they've got them on the run. No buyback on the Ember Spirit. He's down and out for the count, and frantically they beam themselves back to safety. But now they've blown the Haunt. They've failed here on the gank.
Unfortunately, QO just couldn't quite land the Searing Chains with that sleight of fist, and you could even see how kind of desperate MVP were and how important they realized that smoke gank was. That was their last play in this game, in my mind. QO was like on the low ground by the tier 3 tower, and he even knew, like, do I need a remnant high ground? Like, like, you could tell he wanted to chase them into EG's base. And this is when you're down 10 plus kills, you're down a lane of racks, but the only way MVP can kind of turn this one around is by playing super aggressive, and unfortunately it doesn't pay off. EG once again have exorcism, once again have multiple spirit bears on universe, and this is going to be probably a second lane of racks and probably just straight up GG following that failed aggression from MVP.
Yeah, not only did he know they needed to go all in on the fight, but they couldn't just settle for a Crystal Maiden kill. He didn't even bother going for TPD. He had vision, but went for the bigger, higher priority target. Didn't work out, and now MVP are absolutely up against it. As Arteezy jumps in again, Zuba there with the swap. Arteezy lets out his frustration on the Vengeful Spirit, and she won't stand against it long. Now a second melee rack, almost guaranteed to drop here for the side. A dagger coming in, but do they follow this up? PPD's low. MP being forced back though, and MP trying to get to work here, and Artor might be able to kill off the Ursa. That could be pretty nice for them. They silence Q though, preventing the Sleight of Fist, and he will in the end drop, but already the melee is fallen. They need more kills. Justin Ursa's not enough for 2 lanes of Rex, but the Ghosts are returning, bringing Sumail back.
Ursa's the distraction.
HP
He's not even the important hero. It's the lone druid and the DP who are the key heroes right now for EG.
They're chasing. Remnant forward. He's going to find 2 here. QO with the big hedge, and MP rejoining the fight.
What a TP.
They're looking for
Sumail's
more,
out.
but he gets away. Only Fear going down.
Great Savage Raw TP, and
got the silence off there as well. Just great teamwork from EG, and even though they lose a hero or 2, one of them a core, it's already 2 lanes of Rex, Scots. We're not even 30 minutes in.
And unfortunately, LD for MVP. Once Exorcism is back up, rinse, repeat. EG will just keep on coming. They don't even have to wait for ages. They can if they want to, because you've got Ursa. If you don't wait for ages, the Ursa may die again, but I reckon they take... basically, the plan is Ursa blinks in, gets a kill or 2, he dies, but meanwhile, the Lone Druid and Death Prophet take racks. If you want to wait for ages, the same plan happens, except Ursa doesn't die because he's got an Aegis.
Well...
It depends how much Arteezy cares about his stats right now,
there might be a little less Peter if they wait for the Aegis, so...
Peter, help me! Grave me! Oh wait, you're a CM. That's not working. He's got a Glimmer.
He's got a Glimmer Cape.
There we go. He's going to have a 4-staff maybe soon.
Then he can shove Arteezy into the enemy well. And
Archer's like, Peter, save me, get some items, help me out, buddy.
But on a serious note, EG, they're very close now. In fact, just have enough for an Assault Caress for Universe, so that's a big item they're about to grab. Aside from that, Sumail completed an Octarine a couple of minutes ago, and Arteezy, we see him moving in now. This could be the killing blow if he finds a pickoff. And at that moment, MVP's suffering will be extended by a quick pause. Lag and a PC crash. Haven't heard of those happening before. So MVP, almost certain to lose at this stage. It's going to take like 4 or 5 ridiculous fights in a row just to have a chance in this game.
There's a certain website for EG that may get updated should they lose this game.
I wonder if that guy still is around. Did we ever figure out who's behind that magical website?
I do not know.
Well, whoever it is.
Ice Rock, maybe. Just as mysterious.
How great would it be if it was Ice Rock?
I mean, he loves the memes.
You know what's funny? Ever since Bruno went to work for Valve, that certain website hasn't been getting updated very often. I'm just saying, maybe there's a connection. Wouldn't surprise me. Bruno's always been a secret fan anyway. Well, Arteezy's hunting though.
I mean, Sumail picks up a 4th item, Aether Lens, at 29 minutes in. Not something you'd normally expect, but I think he's just like, yeah, we kind of got this game. What can I buy that's going to just give me something for this next fight?
So I imagine if you're QO as well, you're thinking like maybe even straight Rapier here.
Yep, Rapier, absolutely.
Not even a risky play, probably the only play, but no plays for QO. TP's out on the high ground and just gets ripped to bits.
Unfortunately, MVP, they were kind of laying a trap at top lane, waiting for EG to come push top. They're expecting them to go for a push with Exorcism, and that top lane, the last lane of Rax, are like, okay, let's just set up and jump them really far away from our base. So even if the fight goes 50-50, EG, if you take a 50-50 fight in your own base, you're losing Rax because Exorcism, Lone Druid are just hitting the building. So they want to try and take the fight outside of their base, but EG have other ideas. They want to wait for Roshan
and EG, they're pretty much happy to take the fight anywhere and everywhere at this point. They're going to get an Aegis. This time it'll come with the cheese. MVP, a small effort to get some gold before the last rumble.
not really any item or level that's going to save MVP at this stage of the game.
And they, you know, they've done a decent job at kiting the Ursa with the swap, the double Ghost Scepter, but one of those is no longer going to be effective. Arteezy now has the Diffusal Blade, so Febby and Forev not safe anymore from the Angry Bear. So, as you said, push out the mid and bottom lanes, rotate on top.
Interestingly, is like it doesn't even
Seems like the EG plan.
It seems EG maybe recognize what MVP are up to, trying to just camp all their heroes at top lane, waiting for a gank, and EG are kind of hovering around mid. They're not just straight like rolling down this top lane, pushing it out.
It almost seems like MVP want to ambush them as they arrive at the top lane, which is
they've
where
set up wards.
they're expecting the push to start around here, and they want to catch them out. But they will see Fear first.
Okay.
This could be big. They're going to BOT in the Ember Spirit looking for their first pickoff, but Fear gets the kickoff and it connects on 3. Huge one there from the old man. Gets the silence off, dropping the Magnetize, and Sumail starts to press forward. 4 heroes affected by it, afflicted even, and QO having just BOT'd in. Doesn't have a great way out. Down he goes. No buyback there in the Ember Spirit. In the trees as well. Your bench has been entangled, thrown up in the air, pounded back down onto the earth. 2 more crucial deaths with no buybacks. And meanwhile, mid's getting shoved in by Arteezy. Steals the cheese. A little midnight snack here for the Ursa. And it looks like any second now, we'll see another kill. A big jump in, lying down. Forev trying to get work done. He's going to double defuse him just before the Ghost Scepter, and then pops the second, securing the kill. An immediate buyback from Forev. But it's just too much. The damage is overwhelming. The advantage, ridiculous. Arteezy pops the cheese. He laughs at MP's face. He'll make short work of him here. This Korean squad has come a long way, but EG gets the best of them in game 1. One last buyback for whatever it's worth. Very little in the end. EG had their number from start to finish. And MVP find themselves trailing 0-1 in the best of 3.
EG just had such a scary timing this game. When you hit that Lone Drone Radiance with Death Prophet Exism and you just go break the base, Ursa, while he's terrible at pushing himself as a hero, he's great for breaking high ground when you have other heroes that kill the buildings, because he's a hero not afraid to blink past the tier 3 towers, blink deep in the enemy base because of what Enrage gives him, and because he often has an Aegis.